Hi, and welcome back to KPVM. My second guest, or our second guest today, Roy Mankins of Mankins Insurance. Roy, thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've been a center, almost a centerpiece in this town for a very long time, and throughout that whole time, you've had your business, Mankins Insurance, right?
Correct.
Actually, what year did you open your doors?
We, I went in the insurance business in 1984. I opened my Allstate office in 1986, and it's been in the same location ever since. I actually built the facility in 1972 or so when we had a gas station and convenience store at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a gas station and convenience store down at where Bank of America is. We built that in 1960.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I've been around for a while.
You've been around for a while, no
Yeah.
doubt about it. Okay, but as far as the insurance business now, I know you've had a lot of experience, or years and years and years of experience in that. How exactly did you get started in insurance?
Well, yeah, it kind of took a circuitous way to get there. I was in the food service business in Laughlin, Nevada. I didn't sell food, but I sold to all the casinos, and we were doing $14 million a year in sales, which was really great. It wasn't in Pahrump. One day in August, it was 128 degrees. It started raining. The humidity went up. The temperature didn't go down. A gentleman walked up and offered me more money than I really thought my business was worth, and I said, okay.
And that was good.
And that was it. I went back to UNLV, finished my degree, was looking for something to do, and went to talk to a gentleman named Harry Brandeis, and he told me I'd be perfect for insurance. I didn't believe him, but I tried it, and I loved it.
That is great. And since then, you've helped a whole lot of people
I like to think so.
avoid, yeah, oh, absolutely. You've helped these people avoid bad things and help them to be able to plan ahead for the good things and the good times. So let's talk about the services and the products that Mankins Insurance has to offer. Let's start with something that actually it would be perfect for the show: retirement plans. The coverages that the planning that people can make, what to expect out of retirement. Just
Okay.
let's start with that.
I probably don't do it the traditional way. I'm not much of a traditional guy. I've been dealing with retired folks for a very long time because Pahrump has been a retirement community ever since I came to Pahrump. And I've actually had to change my ideas about retirement planning, about what kind of coverages people need when they retire, mostly from actually watching, seeing how people lived, how successful their plans were, just kind of taking a little bit of knowledge out of everybody that walks in the door and refining it. One thing, people have a tendency to think that when they retire, everything is going to change. Well, I'm sorry, you've been doing the same thing for 50 years. People don't change that much.
Not overnight.
No, and their retirement planning objectives that they've been sold by the general perception of retirement is most of the time entirely incorrect. Their company plans have been looted by the companies themselves. Their retirement incomes have dropped. They've basically been told that this was how it was going to work, and it's not going to work that way.
Right, and this certainly is compounded by the changes that we've seen in the overall economy over the last 5 years.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of folks that have retired from really big companies that have had promises of really large retirement incomes, and they've been cut to 50% or 70% of that income, and with no backup because they believe the American dream. I've got to tell you that my best advice for folks planning on retiring is to maintain some kind of an active income. I'm not saying that you have to work a job 40 hours a week, but if you were the world's best guy at making plastic widgets and you've taken 50 years to refine that talent, then all of a sudden you just say one day, I'm done. Well, I'm sorry, you're not done. You can maintain a consulting business with, I can't tell you how many of my customers that work 10, 15 hours a week for their old companies on a strictly consulting basis. They pick up $50, $75 an hour for sitting on the computer or making phone calls or just lending their knowledge to the business. It doesn't matter if you're a worker, a greeter at Walmart. I mean, you need to stay involved. You need to stay active.
Yeah. And
It's just
that
how it
staying
goes.
active is the most important part. I know that my mom, for example, retired a couple of years ago now. And first thing that she went out and did was to find herself a volunteer at the local library. And really, the people that stay active are the happiest, for the most part.
Right. As one of my friends say, you go to work not to actually make a living, but to keep from spending money. Because if you have nothing to do, you just run
Very
around
good
looking for
advice.
things to
Yeah.
do. So, yeah. And for example, when you're retired, your income drops, so you're not able to. For example, let's turn this to property casualty insurance.
Okay.
For auto insurance, we'll make it specific. Probably your need for liability insurance is not going to drop because you're at the point you've accumulated the most assets you've had your entire life because you're ready to retire. So you actually have
More.
more because you're getting ready to take it for the rest of your life. So you've accumulated everything you can. You're at this point. But your income has probably dropped. So if you have a car that's older, maybe you should not have collision insurance on it. I mean, I like to recommend to people if they can afford to buy another car, and their car is 6 years old or 7 years old, it's worth $4,000 or less, maybe they shouldn't carry collision insurance on it. It's a fairly expensive coverage. And
Cost to benefit ratio.
Cost to
just-
benefit ratio, right.
Yeah.
But if they can't afford to buy the other car, I mean, if you're getting $700 a month Social Security
Mhm.
and your car goes down, or you wreck it and you can't afford to replace it, what are you going to do? You know, you'll be without a car forever. So in those circumstances, you probably do need to carry it.
Absolutely. Okay, sticking with the retirement theme that we have going here, people, as you've mentioned, people are kind of stuck maybe thinking in the past. What are the opportunities today as far as retirement planning? What would you, if you were just coming into retirement age, what would you be looking at doing? Three most important things.
Well, number one, you have got to cut your expenses, and you've got to cut your expenses seriously. If you don't have any active income, I'm sorry, folks, but all the retirement dreams you've been sold are not going to work. The statistics say if you're making $10,000 a month, and that's a really high number, but let's just use it because it's easy for the math. You're probably going to still, and you've been spending that $10,000 a month. When you retire, you might get down to $7,000. That's without massive changes to your lifestyle. So if you're approaching retirement age, you need to figure out exactly what you're going to be able to afford and be completely honest with yourself. Do not fool yourself. You need to probably downgrade your house, and unfortunately in today's world that's a problem.
30 seconds.
But just seriously, downgrade your expenses, try and get some kind of active income going, and it's not all doom and gloom. Have fun with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Roy, thank you so much for being on the show today. We appreciate it, and this is great advice. If you want to speak with Roy, you can reach him at 727-5222, or you could see them at 1271 South Highway on 160.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roy.
Have a great day.
We'll be right back.